U.S. forces are escalating strikes on Iran, targeting key missile sites near a critical global shipping route. CENTCOM says American forces used 5,000-pound bunker buster bombs to take out hardened Iranian missile sites along the Strait of Hormuz. Officials say those sites housed anti-ship missiles that posed a direct threat to international shipping, including a major share of the world's oil supply. The strikes do come as President Trump blasted NATO allies for refusing to step in despite their support for the mission and the years of U.S. support to them.
I think NATO's making a very foolish mistake, and I've long said that, I wonder whether or not NATO would ever be there for us. So this was a great test, because we don't need them, but they should have been there.
The president also said he's not currently considering pulling out of NATO, but if he did, it would also require congressional authorization.
It is 9 minutes past the hour. New questions have arisen this morning on who actually is in charge of the Iranian regime following the death of a high-ranking official there. In the past 24 hours, Israel took out one of the top security officials during an airstrike. We told you about this as breaking news when this happened yesterday. He was widely believed to be running the nation following the death of the supreme leader at the start of the war. He was one of the top aides when it came to strategy and had been part of the nuclear deal talks between the United States and Iran earlier this year. The IDF vowing to keep hunting down any possible leaders.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and I have instructed the IDF to continue hunting the leadership of the terror and repression regime in Iran and to repeatedly sever the head of the octopus and not allow it to grow.
In response to the killing of the Iranian leader, a wave of retaliatory strikes were launched across Israel. You can see in this video, this is a cluster of bombs. You see right here, it looks like almost like fireworks in the night sky, and this is intended to get past the Iron Dome, and some actually have, and those missiles have come into the country there. 2 deaths have been reported in Tel Aviv right now. Meantime, the State Department ordering all U.S. embassies worldwide to review security protocols. The order from Secretary of State Marco Rubio advising all posts worldwide to identify any threats and plans of action to neutralize those threats.
You guys know this. One of the president's guiding principles is fairness, and he's long called out NATO for being what he believes sometimes an unfair alliance for the American taxpayer and our American military. You look at the billions of dollars we spend housing U.S. troops on the soil of our NATO ally countries. That's a benefit to them because it serves as a deterrent from our adversaries around the world. If you look at our unfair trade deals with many of our NATO allies, the president and his trade team have obviously worked to rectify those new trade deals with the UK, with the EU. The president wants all of our alliances to be fair for the American people, for the American taxpayer, and I think he's right to call on them to step up and do more in this time.
I'll ask one other question and leave that to others, which is very simply, can the president declare this war effort a success if the U.S. does not retrieve Iran's nuclear fuel?
Look, that's something the president has refused to comment on. It's an option on the table for him, but I'm not going to comment on it or take it off the table. We've defined the objectives of Operation Epic Fury very clearly, which is, of course, to wipe out Iran's ballistic missile arsenal, which we have been very successful in doing. We've achieved dominance over the skies of Iran, to annihilate their navy, which we have done. According to CENTCOM this morning, I received the updated numbers. More than 120 naval vessels are at the bottom of the sea because of our United States Armed Forces. That's a great thing for the American people. That's a great thing for our allies in the region, and of course to ensure that yes, Iran cannot permanently cannot possess a nuclear weapon is something this president has long said for decades. But I'm not going to forecast or remove any future options off the table. Look, again, we're in a place right now where we're ensuring that Iran can no longer threaten the United States of America, and the United States military is doing a tremendous job at achieving these objectives.
Caroline, is Tulsi Gabbard's job in jeopardy right now, given Joe Pence's death?
Not to my knowledge. I haven't heard the president say that, nor have I heard him say that. So obviously that's a question for him, but I haven't heard him to say that at all.
And can you give us an update on what you're hearing from the Chinese about when this trip might be rescheduled?
We're working with them. They have agreed to postpone the trip. I think they understand the president's rationale for doing so. But again, we're working on those dates. The president has some things here at home in May that he has to attend to, and I'm sure President Xi is a very busy man as well. So we'll get the dates on the books as soon as we can, and we'll keep all of you posted.
Caroline, given that the allies seem to have rebuffed the president's request for help, and now he says he no longer needs their help, What is the plan to reopen the Strait of Hormuz quickly?
The president is going to continue to talk to our allies, both in Europe and also in the Gulf and Arab region. The United States military has a lot of capabilities, as you have seen play out over the last 18 days. And they still do have tricks up their sleeve. I won't broadcast them for the media, but rest assured there is a plan. They're working on it. We have seen some progress with respect to that, but of course the president, again, continues to call on our allies to step up and do more. Nancy.
Caroline, a couple of questions on Joe Kent. The White House was warned last year when the president nominated Kent that he had a history of embracing conspiracy theories, that he had some ties to white nationalists. Given that, why did the president nominate him to the position in the first place?
The president spoke on this a little bit yesterday in the Oval Office. He said he always thought Joe Kent was a good guy. Obviously has a commendable military record and experience. However, he was not someone who was involved in the presidential daily brief, part of the president's intelligence briefings over the last several months. Have not seen him here at the White House for quite some time, and the president feels it's deeply disappointing that after the president gave him an opportunity in this administration to serve the American people, that he would resign with a letter filled with falsehoods, accusing the president of the United States by being controlled by a foreign country. That's both insulting and laughable all at the same time. The president is the leader of the most powerful country and military in the world. Nobody tells him what to do. He makes decisions based on what's in the best interest of this country.
Sorry, the president said yesterday that he always thought Kent was weak on security. Why would he name someone to run the counterterrorism center who he thought was weak on security?
Again, I just told you, the president gave Joe Kent a chance. He thought he was a good guy with good military experience, and unfortunately, he proved he was not up for the job. And we don't want somebody leading the counterterrorism task force who cannot agree that the #1 state sponsor of terror in this world did not pose a threat to the United States. That's what another falsehood he said in his letter of resignation, which is just unequivocally false. It's backed by intelligence. It's backed by the fact that Iran was building ballistic missiles at a rapid rate to build a shield of immunity so they could build a nuclear bomb. And it's backed by the fact that the president of the United States made the decision to attack Iran before they could attack American troops and our assets and bases in the region. And that was, of course, a good decision, not just for the United States, but for the rest of the world. It should be commended. It should not be degraded in the form of a resignation letter that's riddled with lies. Thank you.